us an extra $3,000 a year, which helped us pay off our debt and fund our annual escape from all of this.
Visit focusedonme.ca to see how the credit union's focused approach can make a big difference for you.
Good evening. Good evening and welcome to the 2016 East Coast Credit Union Men's Tankard. This is the semi-final match between Team Adams and Team Murphy. Winner books their ticket into the final tomorrow against Chad Stevens' rink. My name is Joel McDougall. I'm joined tonight by Jim Nix. And we'll carry all the coverage for you here on TV1 online, Bell Alliant. And we're just about set to get underway. Leading us off will be Andrew Gibson from the Shawn Adams rink, as Team Murphy will take hammer here in the first end.
Yeah, looking forward to a good game, Joel. It's two really, really good teams, and teams that have played a lot. They played a lot on the tour this year. Really shouldn't be nervous or anything like that. They should be able to kind of get at it right away, and hopefully that'll be what happens, and we'll get going. You mentioned Murphy has hammer. That's by virtue of his record through the week and a round-robin win over this Adams team last night.
And we are underway. Andrew Gibson's first shot will be a centerline guard. We'll just remind everybody at home that the Adams rink throwing the blue stones, Team Murphy throwing the yellow.
Yeah, nice to see the center guard go up early. It sort of indicates that Shawn's ready to play. If he wasn't, he probably would have been putting it in the forefoot somewhere and trying to take an end off before they get at it. So
now Phil Crowell, his first shot, looking to come in around that center guard that was placed by Andrew Gibson. And we'll make a nice shot and have that one well buried just on the top of the forefoot.
yeah, perfect position for Phil. Good start. Andrew will be asked to just basically play down freeze to that yellow one.
Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc and Mark Dacey trying to get this one as close as they can, as it'll come up a little light and just sit at the top of the 12-foot.
Not a bad spot for the Adams team, certainly. Phil switching turns here, going to be going to his out turn. Phil's a left-hander, so his out turn's the same as the right-hander's in turn. Hear a lot more out there tonight with only one game going on. Players aren't mic'd, but there are a couple of mics out in the arena, so we may be able to hear a little bit more of the conversation and whatnot as the game goes on. Great looking shot by Phil Crowell.
So great shots made early on by both teams.
Yeah, pretty good start. Looks like it's going to be a fun game to watch. Fun game to broadcast, even.
And we'll remind everybody, if you're watching, you're likely watching on Bell Alliant TV1. Of course, you can come down. We're at the Mayflower Curling Club in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Great atmosphere all week as we've had the women's and men's tournament going on concurrent. See a run back here by Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc as he'll take out his own and replace it. Two yellow Murphy stones will remain in the house.
And right off the bat, the Adams team is in a little trouble here. You've got Murphy with two in the house with a partial guard on them and having the advantage of hammer as well. So gonna have to get someone's gonna have to make a pretty good shot here on the Adams team. Maybe a little run back or a real nice freeze or something to kind of take them out of some early trouble. But it is early. We're only 3 rocks into the end, so anything can happen.
I remind everybody watching at home, you can follow the action obviously on Bell Alliant TV1. As well too, if you're on Twitter, you can let us know where you're watching from. Use the hashtag NSCurl. Love to hear who's watching and where you're from. If you have any questions, comments, queries, points of interest, certainly let us know. And Scott Saccary here with his first shot here in the first end. So far, early on as it is, good shape for the Murphy team. They'll get the hit and the roll into the center and roll a little bit farther and out the back.
Yeah, it's not a, you know what, it might appear to be a miss, and it is a little bit of a miss, but not a bad shot by Scott. There wasn't a lot of good places to roll with that, so you had to be pretty careful you didn't put it in a place that might give the Adams team a little bit of a breather and a chance to get out of this through no work on their own.
Another chance here at the run back for Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc. Noses his guard and puts it back onto the 2 yellow rocks in the house. He'll remove one, replace the other with his.
Yeah, good shot by Ian. Ian's a skip by trade, so those run backs and big weight run backs and peels are not something he would play a lot. Certainly he would play some of them, but it's not a shot that we would be playing it 3 or 4 or 5 times a game, I wouldn't think. If you are, that usually means you're in trouble, and that's not a good thing.
As you mentioned, Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc, a late replacement for this Adams team.
Scott Saccary being asked to remove that and maybe just roll to the edge of the 8 foot. Looks like a good shot for Scott. Might roll a little bit too far. And it makes its way to the board, so it's a little bit of a miss for the Murphy team. So Shawn certainly has an opportunity to get out of trouble here after being a little bit under the gun here and in the danger of giving up a couple of points. One shot by Mark, and should be able to get out of this with nothing worse than a blank end.
So as referenced by Jim, this is Mark Dacey playing third here. Obviously Dacey, former Brier champion of his own as a skip.
See Ian doing a little bit of the sweeping there. That's a thing that we've talked about all week long, the new style of sweeping, the directional sweeping, and we'll touch on that a little bit more as we go on, just for those that haven't heard us talk about it over and over and over again. Jordan Pinder's the third for the Murphy team.
They'll be asked now. Come down to Dacey's last shot.
Scott Saccary on the brooms hard on this one. Have to work pretty hard to hold it.
That one does come across and will just squeak out the back. And we'll have an open house.
Yeah, really lightweight by Jordan there. I don't know if that's what Jamie was looking for or if Jordan was just trying to be careful not to overthrow it. But it's a big rollout, actually, because now Shawn Adams' team can play the come around and maybe get a force here or perhaps even steal one. Teams have had a practice session, so they do have a good handle on how much ice to take on a shot like this. And if you're playing in your club sometime and you're playing these shots, well, it's just a pretty big guess as to where to put the broom sometimes. Here they should have a pretty good idea.
And here the call, hard for the line here. It's Andrew Gibson and Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc. Certainly a different posture of sweeping by Andrew Gibson, who behind the rock as it goes down the ice.
Yeah, and that's all part of that new sweeping style, Joel, where you're trying to basically sweep in the direction that, if, in this case, he was trying to sweep to hold it straight. So in other words, just almost to make it go to the right side. But usually it's to make the rock curl, and you're sweeping in the direction that you want it to curl. And to do that, you've got to be at about a 45 or so degree angle, and that's just easier to do from behind the stone or partially behind the stone. You see quite a variance in body positions with the new sweeping techniques. Plus, nobody's really got used to it yet.
Run back here by Scott Pinder. will take out both blue stones, the guard and the one that was sitting in the top 12.
Yeah, big win, no shortage of weight there for Jordan. They threw that one down there pretty hard. So my last comment on that sweeping deal, Joel, is that most of these teams, really, it's only been, a month, 6 weeks or so since they saw it for the first time. And teams gradually kind of brought it into the game. And the men's side, most of the teams are doing it. But some of them have only been doing it for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And yeah, it's going to take some time for them to figure it all out as far as where they need to be and to get the most pressure and the right direction and all that. So it's going to look a little funny for a little while.
Shawn
right
Adams.
off the bat, we have a pick.
Yeah, right out of his hand.
Disappointing to see because we did have a little bit of issues last night with that. Same two teams on this sheet had some trouble with picks, and I don't know what the heck it can be. There really isn't. There's no dirt out there. There's nobody there. Nobody's played on this sheet all day. They just finished the sheet and they just practice on the sheet. Makes you wonder if it's equipment, probably maybe some rubber coming off a gripper or something. It's just unfortunate to see. Hopefully that's not something we're going to see much of the rest of the game.
As we get set for Jamie Murphy's first shot here in the first end. He's got the hammer. Hear him. Feels the line's good, but calling for Pinder and Saccary to stay on this. And let this one finish on its own. And it will nicely right to the top of the 8-foot.
You see the dramatic effect of that pick where Shawn was really drawing to do that very same thing that Jamie just did and make it maybe difficult for Jamie to do, certainly difficult to score two and maybe even difficult to score. And now without hammer, you pretty much have to leave that one there, try to go around it, and you're going to have to make a really good shot to avoid giving up two here.
So Shawn Adams gets set for his final shot here in the first end. A little disappointed on his first attempt. Something just picked as he let it go.
This one's got to curl a little bit. Tell Andrew was just on the inside edge there and the opposite side of where he maybe wants to be. Gonna have to make this one curl a little bit, but it looks a little heavy, so the sweepers aren't going to be able to do too much with it.
And we'll see both Dacey and Murphy on that one for a little bit. That one will come to rest at the back of the 8-foot. It is shot rock.
Definitely possible to remove it though. It's it's going to curl that much for sure, and Jamie will throw basically probably back 8-foot weight, maybe back 12-foot weight at the most, and just try to go down and bump that blue one back about, well, one rock really, and he'll scores two.
It's a big opportunity here for Jamie Murphy in the first end with the hammer to get on the board with a multiple in the first end.
Phil Crowell doing all the work on this one. Scott jumps in at the last, just
a little hit and the roll, and that'll be two for yellow as Jamie Murphy jumps out to a 2-0 lead here after the first end.
Yeah, good deuce for the Murphy team for sure. A little unfortunate though for the Adams team. You kind of hate to see those picks have an effect, and whenever they happen on the skip stones especially, they have a big effect. So Murphy gets a deuce, but I'm sure that the Adams team will get pretty aggressive here and get right back in it.
We'll take a moment here as we get set for the second end to start to make sure that we recognize all the sponsors that make this event possible. Of course, East Coast Credit Union, the title sponsor. great presence. They've been a great partner for Nova Scotia Curling here, bringing this men's tanker to us. Of course, on the women's side, it's Scotties, obvious title sponsor of the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. Tim Hortons has been here all week, along with Deloitte. Then, of course, New Scotland Clothing Company, Monaghan Square, Mott's Clamato Caesars, Sobeys, Kent, and the Printing House.
Hey, East Coast has been great. They've been here for the last couple of days. They're going to be here today and tomorrow, all day, to doing raffles all day long. They're giving away a bunch of kit bags and various paraphernalia. They've had 2 or 3 staff here, and if you're interested in talking a little bit of banking with them, I'm sure they'll do that as well. So it's great to have them around.
So the first shot from Phil Crowell finds the top of the 12. Adams will get the hammer here in the second after Murphy picks up his deuce in the first.
Corner guard going up for the Adams team. It's just normal strategy here, regardless of the score in the second end. It's going to be where you're going to throw that one. So the Murphy rock was actually supposed to be in the 4-foot, not quite in the 4-foot, obviously, but I think this will be just another tight. Well, he's going right around that one. I guess he figures he might as well use that as a guard, going top 4. Guy's just cleaning this a little bit. Starting to go a little harder.
Saccary and Pinder.
Great looking line.
Holding the line as it is. You hear Murphy making the call hard for line. Will come in a little deeper, but still exposed there.
Yeah, half open, but that's really about the best Phil could do with that shot. That was a good effort by Phil Crowell. Now, once again, the Adams team will actually avoid those rocks, I think, and just come right around the corner, or perhaps be playing a little bump and roll, I guess.
Mark Dacey, lone sweeper on this, going to get a little hit off of that roll behind their own and sit full 12 with 2 Murphy rocks in the 8-foot.
Sorry, Joel. That's perfect. That's exactly what they wanted. Just make that shot and move them around a little bit. Maybe they would have preferred just a smidge more weight just to move them a little bit more than that, but Scott Saccary will be asked to peel this one off. Jordan cleans it up on the other side. So you'll see the corner go back up here at least a few more times for sure, and Shawn will worry about, unless you're wondering why he's leaving that there, he really needs to get a couple, so he's just going to try to protect that one in the house, and at some point he will make a move on the yellows that are in the center of the sheet. He's willing to wait a little while, knowing full well that Jamie Murphy will peel this corner for at least a few more shots. One looks pretty good, just going to be coming to rest about halfway to the house here, maybe a little better than that.
Mark Dacey gives that one a sweep just to finish. And a nice corner guard placed by Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc.
And Jamie walks up again to play the peel. Peels aren't automatic, but they're getting awfully close to being automatic for all of the better players in the game for sure. You can throw it that hard and that straight. It's pretty hard to miss it. And with the new sweeping techniques where everybody can back them up and everything else, it makes it that much harder to hit it on the nose and stay. It's a good shot by Scott. Jordan once again trying to get rid of it on the other side and make sure there's nothing for Shawn to draw around.
Yeah, it'll stay in play, but not in a position that will have too many ramifications. And
that's a hard one to come around.
Second shot here for Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc.
It's a bit of a chess game here as to how many times to throw the corner before you actually do something with the yellow ones in the middle of the house. If there's only one yellow one, it's a little bit easier to leave it there. But with the 2 of them frozen, it's a little tougher. But for now, all you do is play the shot called, and Ian's throwing a pretty good rock again, and Jamie will walk up there and peel it off one more time. Jordan Pinder, third for Jamie Murphy.
He'll look to peel again as we go back and forth. And easily makes the peel again. You can hear the question through the mics. Do you want to throw another?
Yeah, it's just, it's tough to decide exactly how long to go, but for now they're prepared to go at least one more, obviously, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that change after this shot, provided that Jamie peels it off, obviously.
So Mark Dacey's first stone coming back with another corner guard as they look to protect that blue stone at the top of the 12-foot on the right side of the house.
This one looking a little bit heavy, judging by the sweepers. No, comes to rest, it's fine. Mentioned these teams have met not as many times as I would have thought this year. Actually, they've only played 4 times, the 4th time coming last night in the last game of the round robin. But Murphy's had the edge for the season with 3 wins and a loss, including the final of the Sobeys Classic in New Glasgow, where Murphy defeated Adams in that game.
Jordan Pinder again, another heavyweight take out here, looking for the run back on that blue stone. Will get it, have the other blue roll towards the center into the 8-foot with the other 2 Murphy stones now clustered together.
A little bit surprised there. I don't know if it was a bit of an audible at the end, if maybe Jordan got a little tight or not, or if he was really trying to make the run back. The problem with trying to make the run back, you're running the blue on the blue, and all of a sudden you can find yourself maybe a jam or whatever, or doing what he did, and now you're a little bit bringing 3 into play, depending on how this goes, because you left the guards there for the Adams team to work with. So I thought he would have played just a straight peel, and that may have been what he was actually trying to do. I'm not sure.
We shall see how this end develops as we're down to Mark Dacey's final stone at the 3rd position. After this, we'll move to the skip stones. Jamie Murphy with 2 in the first end.
Playing some kind of little bump here. He's basically trying to move them around, maybe remove 1 yellow stone, roll one of them behind the corner guard. See how he gets along. Maybe roll both of them behind the corner guard. Wow, great shot.
And Will manage to get both rolled. See, maybe a little bit on that blue rock. As Murphy and Pinder now discuss how they'll attack this. Probably about 1/3 of a stone showing of that blue stone that's biting the 4-foot. As Jamie Murphy prepares here for his first shot in the second end.
It's a big shot by Jamie. Certainly an opportunity for a 2, maybe even 3 if he doesn't make this shot. It's close.
Calling for the sweepers right off. Runs his own back off of 1 blue. Will remove 1 of the blue stones. But shot rock remains. Shawn Adams biting the 4-foot on the right side of the house.
Shot by Jamie. I mean, the odds of getting both of them were not real high, really, and had to make sure you got rid of 1 of them. Question becomes now whether or not you draw around the guard, try to get your 2 that way, and maybe have a possibility of getting 3, or just playing the hit and either hit and roll behind the corner or roll to the open side. Have to be a little careful if you try to roll behind the corner. If you don't get there, you set up a double for Jamie Murphy, and all of a sudden you're going to be looking at 1 or a blank end at best, and good opportunity here to score. So Shawn has decided to play the draw. the outturn come around. It gets us in the right spot. It could make it tough for Jamie to not give up at least 2. I might have changed up again. Have to wait a little longer on these calls, I think.
First shot here for Shawn Adams in the second end. Down 2, looking to try and strike back as he'll hit the yellow, look for the roll, and won't go far enough. So there is, Jim, your assessment that now sets up a potential double here for Murphy.
Yeah, I think it's, if you're trying to get behind that guard, I think it's easier to draw it over there than it is to hit and roll it over there. So, but anyway, he still has to make the double. No gimme on the double, and he's going to be throwing enough weight to make sure he doesn't do anything silly and give up a 3. So it might not curl enough for the Adams team. They might end up having a chance at 2, but I wouldn't be betting the farm on that. Jamie doesn't miss very many shots, and this one would be fairly easy for him on the bigger scale. A lot of weight.
Right on it now is Scott Saccary. As they try and hold the line on this. They get the 1, they get the 2, and he'll roll and keep one of the 8-foot. And now we'll likely see Shawn Adams just try and remove that stone and his own, likely to try and blank this end, retain the hammer, and move on to the third end.
Yeah, very good shot by Jamie. Sometimes skips are their own worst enemies. You could hear him hollering, "Whoa," on that one, and to be a little careful. So Adams will try to blank this. Needs to hit it. Shouldn't be too much trouble.
There's the hit, there's the roll, and it's a 0 up in the second end. So we'll move to the third end. Murphy still up by 2. Adams keeps the hammer.
I was doing a little digging on our title sponsor last night, and just some information. Phil forgot he was up first, so we'll occupy a couple of seconds while we're there. East Coast is a locally owned and operated financial cooperative. Really, so you're a member of credit union versus just being a client. So it's kind of an interesting company, and just recently had a merger and now have 20 branches across the province.
So Phil Crowell gets us started here in the third end.
So more of the same this end. I'm pretty sure we're going to see some corner guards go up, and it's interesting with curling nowadays at this level. So often ends start, and you think there's going to be lots of rocks in play, and somehow they still find a way to blank them at the end of it. So Andrew Gibson will be asked to throw the out-turn, corner guard.
I'd like to thank everybody watching at home. John Seitman, great job on commentary. To myself and Jim, after working 7 games at this event, I know how hard the job is. Keep it up. #NSCurl. John was here this week.
Yeah, John did the morning game this morning with Martin Holmes, and a little bit of a tough game for the Teresa Breen team. Started off with a steal of 4 right out of the gate. So it was tough to get into it, but she tried her best and worked hard to get back. Just wasn't to be. The brothers team was just too strong today in the ladies semifinal. Well, Phil Crowell will be asked to throw a guard here. Probably pretty tight. I don't think he'd really want it to be very long, and maybe even into the 12-foot would be better.
This one's going to have to come in as it's a little heavy and to curl up in front of it. So shaping up very similar to the last end.
Yeah, Shawn's asked for back 8 on this, so he's going to try to move rocks around a little bit earlier maybe this time. Just kind of bump something to the back of the house, maybe roll behind the corner guard, and see if he can manufacture a 2 somehow here. starting to move. And sweeping really to try to help a curl more so than because it's light at all. Good shot for Andrew. Good spot. Guys are doing a lot of cleaning out there. Just really a little paranoid about the picks at this point.
Well, especially you could see the Adams team. I was watching them after the first shot of this end, following the footsteps of the Murphy team. I think just after having that early pick right off the hop, I think just wanting to make sure if there's anything on anybody's feet. Obviously, I know there's a lot of procedures in place to everybody try and keep clean and keep things off their footwear and that.
Yeah, they have boot cleaners and sticky pads, and the guys usually try to go out, make sure they buy brand new grippers. For the guys that are wearing a couple grippers, that's especially important, just to make sure the rubber doesn't come off them. And I don't know what causes picks sometimes. It just seems odd. Sometimes it's hand prints, knee prints, footprints.
Well, until we start playing curling in a clean room, it's going to be part of the game.
Yep, for sure. So Ian now will play a draw in here after Murphy's team peeled off the corner guard once again.
So we see a little bit of a change in tactics here in this third end, where he was persistent with putting up that corner guard and getting it peeled off and replacing it for a long period of time, and now choosing to switch gears.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's still kind of playing the guard on his rock, but he's throwing the guards in the center of the sheet now, which is not normally what you will see with a team with hammer. They usually are trying to guard rocks on the corner, like in the last end, really.
Now Scott Saccary goes to work on peeling off the center guards instead of the corner guards.
And successful peel by Scott. Not going to miss too many of those. Same shot called for Ian.
Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc now look to replace that center guard. So maybe the position does change, but the tactics between the two remain the same.
Yeah, that's right. Jamie will peel it off once again. It'd be good if Adams could manage to get a couple here, tie this game up, and have both teams playing offense instead of one offense and one defense, but it's just the way the game goes right now. A lot is at stake, and you can't afford to take any chances, so the Murphy team continues to peel away, despite being only in the third end. The thing about this strategy, occasionally when you go through 3 or 4 or 5 ends like this, and all of a sudden, the other team does score a point or two, and you have to revert to a different style, it's sometimes a little difficult to do. You haven't thrown draws for 4 or 5 ends, and finding the right speed sometimes can be a little difficult.
Would that have anything as well to do with the change in tact from the corner after just in the previous end, putting up corners and having Murphy's team do the peel on that one spot over and over again? Let's say, okay, they've gotten comfortable with this, let's move to the center to see if it makes any difference.
I think you're right, Joel. I think there's some merit in that, and also that, if the rock's in the middle, you've got to roll a little bit further to take it out of play. So, the opportunity for maybe a hit and roll that doesn't necessarily go out of play, but at least it still stays somewhere that's usable for Adams' team. Whereas if he only has to roll 2 feet to get to the sideline, it's a little bit tougher to make that work. Ian trying to finish this one, and I think he got it good enough to where Jamie will still peel it off. I'm not sure. Looks like.
Well, Jamie's getting a little bit of word from the other end of the sheet to see, and now will switch to attacking that blue stone at the top of the 12-foot, or at least he's contemplating it here.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's interesting because he almost got burned last time by leaving the corner guard when he tried the run back, or it appeared he tried the run back and left a corner guard up. So, but he figures it's time to move that one in the house.
Jordan Pinder will get that one, and it'll move that one out. Roll his to the left side of the house.
Yeah, the only problem with that, it opens up the shot rock and maybe makes it a little easier for the Adams team to at least get out of any potential trouble here. I'm not sure it helps them mount much offense yet, but if he can hit this in the right place, he might be able to hit it, make the double, and roll up behind the corner guard possibly.
So Mark Dacey with his second shot here in the third end. Team Murphy up 2 after a deuce in the first. Adams blanked the second.
Mark's playing this the other way, actually, playing off the outside one.
Looks like he's going to hit mostly on the nose of that second shot, Yellowstone. Get a little roll towards the center, but not much.
No, it's that was interesting. The rocks may have been positioned a little differently than we thought they were from here. I would have thought he had to hit the other one to make the double, but looks like he was trying to make that one and maybe bump the yellow out into the open. Adams going to be in some trouble here if Jamie makes this shot good, though. It's only got a couple of rocks to come, and Jamie makes a little in-turn hit and flop. Could be very difficult for Shawn to even score. So a big shot by Jamie Murphy here. It's on its way. Probably something around the hack weight.
First stone for Jamie Murphy here in the third end. Gets it. Will just get to a little bit of the inside of that blue stone, and he'll roll right in front of his own. Lined up on the center line.
Big trouble for the Adams team here for sure. Shawn hasn't got a lot of options. He may be able to go around here on the in-turn and bump that back and sit number 2 perhaps. Certainly could play the run back, but you better make it.
It's a long way for a run back. Angles off just slightly. It's a farther miss.
Yeah, for sure. Could also probably throw, maybe if we see the overhead again, it's if he throws there we go, thank you very much, Chuck. If he throws the in-turn down there with lots of weight, he might be able to make the double, hit the top one thin enough to make the double. Jamie will come around it, but right now that might be your best option.
I don't know if there's anything, if it's too thin to come off the Yellowstone at the front of the 12.
Yeah, that's actually definitely a possibility. Very difficult shot, but you're right. If you ever made it, you certainly get rid of both yellow ones in the house. You may or may not be buried, but again, right now it's about trying to create something for your last shot.
Exactly. Adams has got to start thinking about mitigating the potential damage, let alone just scoring one himself.
Oh, you're right. And, he really doesn't want to give up another point, but he certainly doesn't want to give up more than one more point.
So we'll see the whole team here conferring.
Yeah, key shot really early in the game, but definitely a key shot. Nice view there. I don't think that they'll play that in off. Yeah. So Shawn has settled on really playing the thin double. At least I'm pretty sure. Can't imagine what else he'd be playing with that ice. So try to hit about maybe a quarter of a rock, pretty much all that he can see, and get rid of at least the 2 rocks almost in the button, or on the button, certainly in the 4-foot.
So Shawn Adams now with his first shot here in the third end, down by 2, facing difficult prospect here. Lighter weight.
Yeah, fooling me with the calls. I really thought he was going at this with some weight, so just playing the shot we did talk about early on, where he just plays to bump them back and sit number 2.
And that will happen.
Yeah, he would have liked it to curl up a little bit more, but a pretty good shot.
So he takes out one of the Yellowstones. He'll sit for second shot here. Murphy still lying 1. As he'll get set for his final shot here in the third end. And just discuss things with Jordan Pinder about how they want to approach this. Looks like they're going to go after the second shot rock there from Shawn Adams. Shaping up to be a difficult blank for Shawn Adams at this point if he isn't able to set something up for his deuce.
Yeah, definitely no blank here. He's going to be pretty happy if he has a good shot for one here. I think Jamie will try to roll this, if not directly behind the guard, certainly close. While he still may be able to take a little bit of the draw away from Shawn if he doesn't roll too far. Maybe just... I was just watching this at this point. This must be close. So right on the nose. So Shawn will have a chance to play the out turn. Almost the same shot he just played. Maybe a little less weight. Just bump it back enough to score one. Huge shot for the Adams team right here. Pretty much have to make this one.
Gonna have to make it. Make sure that they stay on the shot, not roll too far, as second shot is not too far away for the yellow shot right now.
Yeah, they haven't really... I'm trying to remember if they played the side a whole lot in the first end. They haven't played it a whole heck of a lot.
Well, they're just having another check to see how things are lining up here.
I think the fact that maybe you're not totally familiar with this right-hand side is making him think about whether or not he wants to play something different.
Just maybe perhaps switching turns here and...
Yeah. The out-turn, when you look at it, the out-turn definitely looks a lot easier than this in-turn through that hole, basically, but... Still not really sure what they're playing here, to be honest. Can't imagine he's playing. He might be playing the same shot. The in-turn through that hole, but...
And here is Shawn Adams' final shot here in the third end, facing three at the moment, looking to get his bluestone in for shot and pick up his single as he's down two to Jamie Murphy. Hard for weight now, you hear, as both Gibson and Fitzner-LeBlanc get on it, and they'll bump it just back far enough and score their single. So Blue scores one here in the third to cut the lead in half.
Yeah, that's a great shot by Shawn Adams. A really nice shot. And, we were talking about what looked easier, but to Shawn, he knew that he just threw this shot and felt much better about it, even though, on the surface it looked far more difficult. But sometimes you got to play what you know, because otherwise it's just a guessing game, and that doesn't usually work. So Adams on the board now, trailing 2-1. Just a really big shot at this level. If he'd given up a couple there or three there, down 4-5-0 after three ends is not impossible, but it's really difficult to come back from. So we got ourselves a game again, Joel.
Andrew Gibson now will lead us off here in the fourth end, here on sheet 4 at the Mayflower Club in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Of course, a great opportunity for anybody in the local area, even if you're not in the local area, to come on down to Halifax, the Mayflower Curling Club, to see all the action. Of course, this is the semifinal. We'll have final Sunday tomorrow with the women's and men's final both going tomorrow. Winner of this match moves on to face Chad Stevens for the chance to go on to the Brier.
Yeah, the Stevens team's been just on fire this week, and whoever comes out of this game is going to have to really play to knock those guys off. So long guard up, and now Phil Crowell will be asked to come around it. Scott Saccary working on it from the high side, trying to get it to make a little bit more of a curl. And here it comes. Good shot.
That one will curl in to be pretty much fully covered.
Shawn Adams just going to play the freeze here with Andrew Gibson's second stone. Try to get a little something going on. This seems a little straighter tonight than it has been. I'm not sure that's completely fair to say, but it does seem to be a little bit straighter. shot by Andrew. So Jamie Murphy in the driver's seat a little bit here with a 2-1 lead. Pretty small lead, but he does have Hammer playing the 4th in, and not a bad position for the Murphy team.
Second shot here for Phil Crowell in the 4th end. Looking for top 4 as we hear on ice. Looks like they're going to get a little rub off of that blue stone.
Yeah, a little bounce, not really what he's looking for, but that one certainly curled a lot, so maybe it's not quite as straight as I thought. So Ian's going to be asked now to really, looks like make the double basically and roll to the outside. Not sure they're totally worried about the double, but if he makes the shot that Shawn called, it's going to make the double anyways. Fitzner-LeBlanc, another left-hander. 2 left-handers out here tonight. It's more than we usually like to allow on a sheet at the same time, but sometimes it happens. Ian's just a really good player. Good guy. This one's going to be pretty close to the nose.
Touches a little bit, a little roll towards the center.
That's okay, that's a good shot as well. Nothing wrong with that. See, the Jamie does have shot rock, but the Adams team has 2 rocks just at the top of the 8-foot and in a really good position to be raised up or ran back or just tapped up. So probably about neutral right now as to who's in the better position. Scott throwing the out turn. Going to have to work hard on this one. This is pretty darn close to the guard.
Crowell hard on it, trying to hold the line. Just wicks off that center blue guard.
Yeah, really good position now for the Adams team after that one didn't even go away. It's sometimes if you hit those guards, problem when you get close and there's a chance you can get by, then you end up, if you don't get by, you usually don't move it very far, which is the unfortunate part of a shot like that. Guys talking a little bit about what they want to do here. A couple options. They can obviously play a little bit of an angle slash on the yellow one and remove it that way. They can come around, tap the blue one up a little bit that's behind, more or less behind the guard. Not really worry too much about getting rid of that yellow stone yet.
Here, Fitzner-LeBlanc and Adams discussing this shot. Would it be difficult for someone like Ian, normally being a skip, to be given the role in a second? Obviously, I know he's going to a very experienced club, but it's a very different position that he's usually in.
Well, for sure. I mean, you're still your skip's hat probably doesn't go away, so I'm sure that many times you're thinking, well, I don't know about that, you know. But you sometimes just got to park that a little bit. You'll be asked for input here and there, and that's when you offer it. Mark Dacey pounding this one. Might be good.
Gets the little hit and roll. That'll push that yellow. And they try and encourage that yellow stone to get out, but it'll hang on at the back 12.
Yeah, you know, sometimes those little ones come into play, too. That's why they were working so hard to get it out. It might have been just a little bit light there, or just a combination of that, maybe hitting it to a little bit thicker than he wanted to. But yeah, to your point, Joel, a little bit more on that. They just, you know, Ian's got a really great personality for a team like this, and to be picked up by this team, and he's just a smart kid, and he understands his role here, and he'll be sure that when he offers input, it'll be input that's needed and wanted, and when not, he won't offer it. So Scott Saccary having a great game so far.
He's going to hit, roll to the left side of the house. Or maybe I should ask you that, Jim. So now, in terms of saying which side of the house, is it from our angle here as you would be the skip, or from the shooter's end that you say left or right side of the house?
Well, I think we're going to talk to the viewers, so we'll go with left side since that's what we're saying.
When we see the overheads, it is from the skip's view.
Yep, exactly. So Mark Dacey will be asked to remove this, and I'm guessing roll behind the corner. He definitely doesn't want to jam it on his blue one. Be a little bit firm.
Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc gets on it a little bit near the end. They'll get that one to roll, but not fully beyond that blue guard on the opposite side of the house.
Yeah, real close. The Adams team has been really close to making some really good shots here, just not quite there. And the Murphy team hasn't really had to make a lot of great shots yet. They've basically been able to kind of just throw high, hard ones. So that'll probably turn around somewhere along the way, and both teams will have to make the same sorts of shots. But what they've been doing good, so they'll just keep on doing it, I think. Jordan Pinder are going to throw the maybe double here. I don't know if the double's really there, but these guys throw it so much harder than I ever considered throwing it. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Ton of weight on this one. I think he's going to be too thin for the double.
And that will be the case. He'll take out the 1. His will squeak out through the window of the 2 blue stones and the 4 and the 12.
It'll be interesting here. Shawn might come around the guard. He could also guard the one that's biting the button, I suppose. I think that's a safer play. If you ever guard it, throw a guard up there, and Jamie decides to forget it and play the double, he could be sitting 2. You definitely don't want that right now.
So Mark Dacey set for his final shot here in the 4th end. 2-1's the score. Team Murphy leads Team Adams in the men's semifinal of the East Coast Credit Union Tankard for the provincial championship of Nova Scotia men's curling.
He's backing right off of this one. That's never a good sign. This is really, really heavy.
This one's going to slide itself right through the house. Jamie Murphy gives it a little sweep, but it didn't need it.
Yeah, not a good shot by Mark, and not a shot you usually see him throw for sure. He's usually, if he doesn't make it, he's awfully close to making it. So that one was probably a good, solid 12, 15 feet heavy, really. So he won't be happy with that. Jordan Pinder now will be asked to remove this, maybe roll a little bit behind the blue one at the top of the 8-foot, or the other way. Adams have to be a little careful here. He doesn't roll out someplace and gives up a 2. Phil Crowell doing all the work. Scott Saccary just, like I say, cheering him on.
Gets the hit and the stick as he'll sit at the top of the 4-foot. So Jamie Murphy currently sitting 1 here. He'll have the hammer here in this 4th end. As we go to skip stones now, as Shawn Adams prepares for his first shot here. He's going to go after that shot stone.
Shawn definitely has to roll on this one. I think if he hits this right on the nose, he's going to set up a fairly easy double, other than it might jam on this yellow one over here. But Jamie might also be able to go the other way with it, so has to get a little bit of a roll on this one. Ian trying to make it curl a little bit. Doesn't look like it's working too good. Yeah, got a little bit.
He'll get a little bit of roll.
Made that double just a little bit tougher.
It will be a bit of a thin double here.
But an opportunity for the Murphy team for sure. If he can make this double and not jam it, and I don't think it jams right now. I think it's still flat enough that it would go over the top of the yellow one for sure. And as long as he got it out, it'd be a definite opportunity to score 2.
So Jamie Murphy with his first shot here in the 4th end. Still leading by 1, 2-1 over Team Adams.
Lots of weight on this one by Jamie. Doesn't appear he's going to make the double.
Tries to get it to come across. Right line. Just didn't have the steam to get across there, as it was a fairly thin double.
Yeah, still a good shot because, Shawn's, it's so close to your own that for Shawn, anything other than a roll, and it might be pretty much a gimme double for Jamie Murphy, and he certainly doesn't want that. Now, if he can get the roll over here behind the corner, it might make Jamie's shot a little bit tough to score, because I don't think that he'll play anything other than some kind of takeout with a 2-1 lead. I don't think he'll draw. But you got to get the roll.
So Shawn Adams' final shot here in the fourth end. Here calling for different sweepers at different times. Gets the hit, gets the roll. And that will be behind cover there. So now a difficult prospect for Jamie Murphy.
I think you're right. I think this might be really hard. Might be a perfect shot by Shawn Adams, actually. I'm not sure if he can get the double. Doesn't really look like it from here. He's got to come by the guard awfully tight, I think. And I'm not sure he's prepared to play it that tight, but we'll see. He's gonna play the hit anyways. Either way, it's a takeout, and it's just a matter of trying to get it to curl enough to make the double. Otherwise, he won't score here. He'll actually end up giving up one, but he's probably going to be not terribly unhappy should that happen. So throwing an out turn down the center line. I think I heard them say normal, but I'm not quite sure what normal is for this team, so that should be reasonably firm weight.
So Jamie Murphy with his final shot here in the fourth end.
I dare say it's
right
probably not normal.
They're watching this one. Big moment here. He'll get the hit, he'll roll out, and it'll be a steal of one for Team Adams. The blue scores one here in the fourth, and we're all square once again at 2 as we'll move to the fifth end. Before we do so, I'm just going to take another moment here to recognize East Coast Credit Union, title sponsor here at the Nova Scotia Tankard. Been here on hand for the last couple days. Event like this cannot happen without great partnerships, and East Coast Credit Union has been a great part of men's curling and curling in general in Nova Scotia. Obviously, the women's event has been brought to you by Scotty's. Tim Hortons is always on hand with great coffee and refreshment. Deloitte has been a major partner of curling here in Nova Scotia. As well, on hand, we've got Nova Scotia Clothing Company, New Scotland Clothing Company, Monaghan Square, Mott's Clamato Caesar, Sobeys, Kent, and the Printing House. Now, there's been a lot of observation of looking for picks there around that hog line at this near end all evening.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody's going over the top cautious with that, but you know what? It makes sense. This is the last game of the season for couple of these teams if they don't win this, or for one of these teams if they don't win it. Last game of the season, at least that has major repercussions. I'm not sure what the schedules are for everybody after this, but a lot of teams shut it down after the provincial championships. Andrew throws up the guard. So anyway, my point on that is you really can't afford to have a pick on something that you could have taken care of, and otherwise you might find yourself on the sidelines here after tonight's game. So the Murphy team going to make a little adjustment in style probably this end and maybe get a little bit more aggressive. As Phil Crowell is asked to play the come around. Phil's been pretty good with draw weight all the way through this event from what I've seen. And a good shot.
So he'll bury that one at the top of the 8 foot as we play in the fourth end here. Remind everybody at home that we'll take a little break here after the fifth end. Just a 5-minute breather as the players get a break, so they let the commentators also stretch their legs. Andrew Gibson wondering where this one's at as it's hanging out there. Now starting to come across. And they'll get that one, just squeaks by the Murphy Rock to sit top 4.
Okay, great shot by Andrew. I don't know if they were playing that. They probably were playing the freeze on the yellow one, but either way, good shot. Phil will be asked to basically follow that down, sit right on the corner, and set up a potential Rays takeout, if you will. And Mark Dacey doing more cleaning behind Phil. Shot looks pretty good. Guys are just basically kind of cleaning it into the house.
This one's coming in. It's just going to give a little tap back.
That's a great shot.
So Adams still with shot rock, but a couple of Murphy stones right in front of him.
Guys have come to play tonight, you know. It's been a well-curled game so far. No question about that. So Ian, Murphy's lefty, comes up and tries to play the same shot again. Actually, I think he's just trying to freeze to the top yellow one at this point, which would be a good shot because it would also stop the Murphy team from playing anything on the back yellow, because you'd be in the way, basically.
This one starts to come across, and they will get this one right in on top again, and a nice little freeze from Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc.
Yeah, overcurled a little bit, but that might be just a case of, you know, Ian being left-handed as intern. Interns usually go a little more for most people than outturn, so his might just curl a tiny little bit more than the other guys, and maybe that's something. These guys haven't played that many games together, so maybe something that Shawn just hasn't 100% picked up on yet, and maybe giving Ian an extra 2 or 3 inches of ice on those shots. But still pretty good. Nothing really terribly wrong with that shot. Adams' team could run the blue one back and get rid of both yellows pretty easy, so Jamie might peel this off. It's almost the only shot Scott's thrown all night is this peel, but has thrown a couple other ones and successfully thrown them, so good for Scott, good player. One of our sponsors also with the New Scotland Clothing Company. Scott and his brother started this business about, I don't know, probably a year and a half ago or something like that. Very active and very supportive of curling and other sports. So it looks like the Rays takeout's probably coming now.
As Adams just sees how things line up, how best to remove the 2 yellows. Try and keep his own around as we play in the 5th end. All squared 2. Jamie Murphy holding the hammer. Asking, hold it hard. Try and hold the line.
This one might jam, yeah.
Does jam, as I think lined up a little bit off what Adams was hoping.
Well, he hit it on the wrong side, really, Joel. He was looking for a little bit of a drag effect into the yellows. The way the yellows were set up, he needed to hit it on the left-hand side just to make the yellow rock jump a little bit left to right as we look at it here. And he hit it on the other side, and as a result, he ended up missing the back yellow one. So Ian probably won't be terribly happy with that, but not a lot of real danger here yet, though. It's pretty early. I think you're probably going to see the guys play a bunch of takeouts here, and you may well end up with a blank end by the time it's all done.
So Scott Saccary takes out the other blue stone, as we'll sit with 2 yellow rocks in the house. And we'll move to Mark Dacey here. Question whether you want to play the double now or... Yeah, I like the double, says Mark.
Yeah, Mark, this is Mark's forte, is throwing shots like this for sure, but the problem with trying it now is if you don't happen to make it, then Jamie can split the house, and there's be a good chance you might give up your 2, but you got to play it sometime, and this doesn't look like an extremely difficult shot for Dacey, so he's going to give it a go. It's not going to be light, I can just about guarantee you that.
Holds the line, gets the 1, gets the 2. And there's the double. And we got a fresh sheet once again.
He made that look pretty easy, actually. Jamie, yeah, I figured Jamie was originally looked like he might call a corner guard, but it's pretty late in the end to try to throw the corner guard, so the team says, no, maybe we better just throw it in the house. We'll try to blank this one, keep hammer going to 6.
So Jordan Pinder. Now we'll just throw this one out to the wing. That one will roll just to the right of the house right on your screen. And sit just on the center, on the tee line.
Mark will throw this one a little less weight than he did in the last one. Try to stay here and not going to throw it too light down there, but good shot, nose hit. So you mentioned the East Coast Credit Union earlier, Joel, and speaking with the reps here in the last day or two, it's they certainly are really, really pleased to be here supporting the curling community, and certainly want to wish the champions of our event the best of luck at the upcoming Brier in Ottawa. Good shot for Jordan.
And Jordan and Mark Dacey will play a game of swap the stones as we get set, as both teams, well, Jamie Murphy certainly, unless something happens, will be content just to take the blank and move to the sixth end and keep the hammer and try and set up another multiple for himself. Or Shawn Adams, if there's a mistake on the other end, try and steal again.
See, Shawn doesn't put a lot of handle on the rock. I mean, I know this is a takeout, but doesn't put a lot of handle. And I have to watch what he puts on the draws, because that could be a problem if he's concerned at all with picks. And you certainly want lots of rotation. The rock with a lot of rotation has a fair bit less chance of picking on, just a flat spot, stuff like that. Not necessarily something that's significant, but can be if you throw a rock that's got a little bit of a soft handle. We usually refer to that as a soft or lazy handle when you don't put a lot of rotation on it.
So Jamie Murphy with his first shot here in the fifth end. We're all square at 2.
Tell you what, you better go pretty hard on this one.
This one's gonna catch part of the stone and roll towards the center. Dacey's gonna try and see if he can't squeak this one out the back, but looks like it's just gonna hang on, maybe to be biting that 12.
Yeah, I think it is. Mark's getting pretty close to the senior category as well, so sweeping might not quite been what it was 10 years ago. Still pretty darn good, though, for a guy who's getting pretty close to senior age, I'll tell you that.
We'll make sure that we remind Mark of that next time we see him.
Yeah, that'll be good.
And the hit and stick for Shawn Adams. And we'll go to the final rock here, the fifth end. Reminder to everybody, we'll take a brief break just for 5 minutes. We'll be back for the sixth end of action and the remainder of this men's East Coast Credit Union Tankard semifinal. Winner going on to the finals tomorrow to face Chad Stevens.
Yeah, tomorrow's final at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Perfect time to come and watch a curling game. Still get home in time for supper and all that sort of thing. Probably still in time even to catch a football game by the end of the day. So,
reminder as well, the women's final will go tomorrow at 10 a.m.
So Jamie trying to blank this one. Gotta be a little careful you don't get too excited on the sweeping, but Scott's all over it. And
there's the hit and the roll, and it will be a blank here in the fifth. So it's all square between Team Murphy and Team Adams, as we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Catch you on the other side.
There's a lot of life packed into life, and anything that frees up more time in your day is a bonus. Imagine you own a small business. You've got a lot on the go and receive a number of checks from clients each week. In the past, you'd squeeze in trips to your branch to deposit them as quickly as possible. But what if you could deposit a check from the office? From home, at any time, from anywhere. Deposit Anywhere can do just that. Now you can take care of deposits as checks arrive. You just open the app on your smartphone, select your account, enter the amount, snap a photo of the check, and submit. The digital image is processed just like a paper check, and the money is deposited securely into your account. All that without ever stepping into a branch or out of the office, anytime, anywhere. Deposit Anywhere, another mobile innovation brought to you by your credit union.
Ding-free ATMs are everywhere. Download the Ding-free ATM Locator app today and find the one nearest you. It's just one more reason why it pays to belong to a credit union.
And we're back here as the Shawn Adams rink is anxious to get started as they began before the 5-minute break was up. With Andrew Gibson bringing the first shot of the 6th end onto the top of the button. It's all square at 2 after 5. Murphy retains the hammer here as we play 6th, blank the 5th end. But we're all square as we get set for the second half of this semifinal matchup. Phil Crowell lead for Team Murphy. Looking to put a corner guard up. That'll be placed nicely by Phil Crowell once again. Andrew Gibson now with his second shot here in the 6th end. Remind everybody watching at home, you can follow along on Twitter. Use the hashtag NSCurl. Love to hear where you're watching from, who you're rooting for, what your predictions are.
Pretty similar end developing here. We just kind of have had about the same style ends naturally. That's about the way it goes with, you know, a guard going up, a rock coming in, or vice versa, and then everybody drawing to the button for a little while.
Bill Crowell now with his second shot as they're trying to get this one around the second guard and come right down on top of that shot. Bluestone will bump it back a little bit.
Nice shot by Phil again. We've been saying that pretty much all night long, so his good play continues, and Ian will try to follow that down and do just as well. It's going to get a little loud out here for the last 3-4 ends, I think, as the intensity builds and the pressure builds, all that goes with that. Ian's out turn. This one maybe just a smidge heavy. As a result, a little slower coming over than Phil's was.
They'll get a little tap back and roll on the shot rock on the button.
Yeah, not too bad. You know, you kind of move the yellow one back just a little bit behind the tee line and kind of on/behind, and depending on what happens in this shot, you have a little bit of a pocket for the team without hammer to work with, and see how long Jamie goes before he decides to maybe peel something off. Right now he's in pretty good shape if he can roll to the corner and maybe set up a 2. For the Adams team, not so bad either. They have a center guard to work with, and it's usually enough to give you an opportunity somewhere along the way. Scott Saccary playing an in turn, hit and roll. This one curling a lot for pretty firm weight.
Trying to hold the line. You hear Murphy with the call. He'll hit and stick.
Yeah, that one curled pretty good, considering it had pretty reasonably firm weight on that. It came up pretty hard. Opportunity for the Adams team now, though, to hit and roll. Got a rock in a really good position there at the top of the button, or on the button.
Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc set for his second shot. Hear the call from Adams. Play half weight. It's getting better. Needs to curl is the call.
Still needs to come up a little bit. Wow, great shot there. And I think you'll probably see the guard go now, I would imagine. I think Jamie really should be leaving it there much longer. Here we go.
Now Scott Saccary will do what he's been doing all night and peel the front guard.
Yeah, you're right. That's just about it for the night. But he's been doing a pretty good job of it. It's a nice thing when you throw it that hard. You can hit it just off the nose and still roll 6 feet away. That's certainly a luxury for sure.
Now we'll move on. Mark Dacey set for his first shot here in the 6th end. We're all square in this semifinal. One of these teams will go on to the final tomorrow.
Yeah, Mark will be throwing a guard here. Trick here is to make sure that if you miss the guard slightly, that you miss it on the high side, so that Murphy can't get rid of the blue without getting rid of his yellow. Just a little heavy again, Mark. Just a little bit heavy with the draw weight today. In the last couple, anyway. And fortunately, this one curled to where Jamie can actually remove that if he likes.
That one will sit just tight to the rings in front of the 12 foot on the center line. Now we're just here. Jamie Murphy having a little discussion with Jordan Pinder as they look to see what's going to be their best option.
Well, he's going to peel the guard, try to actually run the guard into the blue one, I think, and try to get rid of at least 2, maybe all the blue ones. I can't tell for sure. Jamie's blocking the view a little there. This one's leave a lot of blue ones, maybe. Nope.
We'll shake things up a bit, remove the center guard, another blue, and leave 1 sitting at the back 4 foot for the Adams rink.
It's interesting, Joel. Certainly at this level, it's a little bit of a different game. And I thought he might play the out turn, come around, chip that one out, roll to the corner, and sit maybe 1-3. Comes with a little bit of risk for sure, but now I think you're going to see Jamie's going to be really playing for the blank once again. With just 3 rocks to come. Mark Dacey will be asked to throw it out in the wings. Or if not in the wings, at least to a position where making the doubles difficult without rolling out. Throwing the in-turn.
Mark Dacey's final shot here in the 6th end is away.
This one must not be heavy. The boys drawn it early. Oh, they take a break. Have a look.
Zine Fitzner-LeBlanc sweeps that one to bring it in and just bite the 4-foot on that left side of the house.
Yeah, you might wonder, I guess why he wouldn't throw it further out into maybe all the way out towards the east and east coast, but where these guys can throw it so hard, if you throw it out there somewhere, it might actually make an easier double, certainly a double that you could stay on, where, if you take this rock and just move it a little bit higher and a little bit left, then it's pretty hard to make that double and stay. I think he can make it here, but I'm not even sure he's trying it here. He might just be trying to hit this and flop to the center in front of the blue one. Make it a little tough for the Adams team to remove it. Crowell really not sweeping there, just keeping everything clean.
We'll get the run back and leave one there. Now an opportunity here where Adams will look to, again, try and position this to make it difficult for Jamie.
Just in the overhead, these full house logos are pretty cool. Kind of the thing that they've been producing for the last few years, and see them on TV all the time with the Pinty's Grand Slam Tour and things like that. The ice crew had to put these in late because they didn't have them ready for the start of the season. A lot of work for them, but they did a great job, and the logo looks great. So Adams throwing the out turn hit here. He definitely needs to stay on this, or definitely wants to stay, I guess.
Andrew Gibson on this one, trying to hold that line. You got a hit, little roll towards the center.
Yeah, you really didn't want to roll that way, just because now Jamie could make the double and roll behind the corner guard. Or if you were going to roll that way, you wanted to roll another 3 feet maybe. But not an easy shot, not an easy double and roll, so as long as Jamie doesn't roll behind the corner guard, then it'll be job done for Adams in this end. And if he does, though, it's going to be a really good opportunity for him to pick up a deuce. So it'll be hard for Shawn to put it somewhere he can't get it.
So first shot here for Jamie Adams in the 6th end.
It'll be Jamie Murphy.
Sorry, Jamie Murphy.
It's
Getting
okay.
the two of them. I'll just combine the two of them here.
Yeah. There's a good shot, good double.
There's the double. I'll leave his own shooter there. But
Shawn
Murphy
will go down to throw this one.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'll keep it straight.
It's been a long week, been a lot of games and a lot of people, a lot of names, and
I don't think I've done the same team twice. I'm trying to think.
sorry.
Well, I think I might have done the Jill Brothers team twice, and that would have been about it.
So Shawn will actually try to make the roll here, I think, and try to force Jamie to take his one. He can go pretty hard for the roll here. Not really a lot to lose. Just make sure you hit it. This is going to have to curl a long way yet to get to have any chance of rolling.
It starts to come across now. We'll get the hit and the takeout, but we'll sit wide open. So a chance here for Jamie Murphy to once again blank this 6th end and move to the 7th and keep that hammer. Hold on to it until he can find a way to score more than one.
Yeah, it won't be any shortage of speed on this one either. Jamie will throw this down pretty good and make sure he blanks it.
Final shot here in the 6th end. We're all square at 2. Here Pinder. Gotta go. No worries. Removes the shot. Rolls out. We'll put another blank up on the board. And we'll move to the 7th end. All square 2. 4 ends left to play here.
Yeah, it's getting kind of exciting here. Certainly 4 ends to go, and the trip to the finals on the line. Guess you got to figure Murphy's in the best position here with hammer after 6 and a tie game. Probably try to blank this end and score a couple in the 8th end. 8th end's a key end usually to score, no matter whether you have hammer or don't have hammer. It's kind of dictates what happens in the last 2. So the Adams team will throw up another guard, same as they have in previous ends, and try to force the issue.
Well, if we look back at the early scoring this match, and we've seen a couple blanks here in the last end, because everybody seems to be, for the most part, making their shots. It really came, the only multiple point end that we saw came off of that unfortunate pick from Shawn Adams in that first end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that really was too bad. But the nice thing, at least with the steal in the fourth for the Adams team, it kind of took that one away and kind of got back to neutral ground, if you will.
But since then, it's been consistent shot making from both teams, and so difficult scoring.
Yeah, just really solid teams. You know, it's they're just not going to give you a whole lot. You're going to have to work hard to make things happen. And
so the Murphy rink will come in around that center guard. And much like we've seen here, we're going to see the Adams team look to come right down on top of that one again.
Yeah, the Leeds are playing great. Phil's made that shot countless times now. It's almost like he doesn't even have to throw it. He might as well just take it down and put it there. And Andrew will come down and sit on it.
Well, we've seen similar scripts and ends as it plays out. Waiting for someone for a missed shot or an extraordinary shot to change things up.
So it might be a little light. He's working hard. Well, they get it on the rings, but you know it's just not really where you want it to be. You know, and it's just that one really needed to be there, I think, and a couple more feet would have been good. See, he's not super happy about it as he comes down the sheet, but the worst thing about that is that it's because of where it is. It needs to be bumped up a good solid 3 feet to be able to even get to the yellow one, and you can't see all of it, so bumping it's not an easy task. So Murphy's probably going to ignore it, come right around the whole thing on the intern, and he knows that if he can get it even partially behind his yellow one, there's not really any way for the Adams team to get it with the rocks that are currently in play.
So Phil Crowell now with his final shot here in the 7th end. This one's starting to come across. They're trying to hold this line. They're not going to get it by that center guard.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that one. Phil underthrew it a little bit for sure, because you can tell it was only barely 12-foot weight. And that might have been all that happened, really. This ice will go if you throw it a little bit too light. It will curl a ton. So we must have jinxed Phil a little bit with talking about how well he's been throwing that shot.
And now Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc with his first.
Really the exact same shot that Murphy threw, with the exception being Ian would like to be on top of the yellow one and not behind the yellow one.
Andrew Gibson and Mark Dacey trying to hold this one and drag it as they do. And that one's just going to wreck on that front yellow as well.
Yeah, it's both rocks underthrown for sure.
So we see a couple of uncharacteristic missed shots here in this match. Just after I end up speaking about it, of course, that's how it works.
Yeah, it's inevitable every time.
And now we're looking, Jamie Murphy discussing Jordan Pinder, this end about what they can see, and is this part of the directional sweeping that we're seeing? I've seen this all week, that the front end swapping brooms depended on what ends up happening.
Yeah, you usually want the synthetic broom on the inside of the, if it's going to curl. So in this case, he's going to throw. I think he's going to throw the intern. Just 1 second till we see. But basically, if Scott was throwing the intern here on a takeout, you would usually have the inside sweeper on the low side would have your synthetic broom. So Jordan would have the synthetic broom, with the theory being that he's probably going to have to sweep it more to keep it straight than to get it to curl. And on a takeout, that's normally what you're more concerned about, an overcurl than an undercurl. So that's why they switch brooms that way. So you want that inside sweeper to have the synthetic, and inside or low sweeper, if you will, low being on the direction it's going to curl to.
So a lot of discussion here going on as there's a number of rocks in play. So Jamie wanting to make sure that whatever he calls here will leave him set up best to try and score multiple points in this end.
Yeah, the problem here for Jamie is he is shot rock and has what looks on the surface to be a pretty decent setup. But the problem is if Mark or Shawn either find a way to get in there, then it's going to be really tough to get it out. So,
well, there is the potential when we see the shot that we just had on there, potential for that blue stone in front of the house for an angle raised takeout. But I mean, of course, difficult shot. So it looks like Jamie is choosing to try and open up this center line area. And we'll do that to perfection on the shot from Scott Saccary, who moves off the center guard and eliminates 2 blue stones.
Yeah, you'd kind of wonder whether or not that was a good shot, but for the Murphy team, it did what they wanted to do. They're, once again, sort of playing this in a way that they'll take an easy 2 if you give it to them, but they'd be more than happy to blank the end again. So that's kind of where they're going with this. There's not a lot for the Adams team to work with, but there is the one guard, which is probably a kind of a semi-corner center guard. I'm not sure what you're going to call that. It's definitely not a center guard, but not quite a corner. But Murphy would be really, really happy to blank here, so I think that's really the direction that he's thinking he wants this end to go.
Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc takes out the yellow shot rock. Now Scott Saccary with his final shot here in the 7th end.
Scott throwing something a little less than rocket launcher weight on this one because he's trying to stay here, but this one's really curling. He's going to get it, but I'm thinking he's going to roll out. Shawn will go over and work on it a little bit, and he gets it out.
Too many peels for Scott Saccary here this evening.
Well, it's a good point, Joel. When you throw like 4 or 5 or 6 of those in a row, and all of a sudden you're supposed to throw something a little lighter, it's sometimes a little hard to figure out exactly how much lighter is it. But it does give Adams a chance here to maybe force the issue a little bit at least and get around the corner guards. I guess there's 2 of them there together.
So Mark Dacey here with his first shot in 7.
Throwing the out turn. It's just cleaning a little bit, not really ready to go too hard yet. Looks like it's got plenty of weight.
Looking for this one to come across.
This was a little lighter. You'd see Ian going on it now to try to get it behind the guard.
We'll get this one to be partially buried, maybe about a quarter of a rock.
Yeah, went a little deep, but not too bad. Guy's trying to decide what weight to play here. You can play a lot of shots here, actually. You have a few options. You could play the freeze if you were really aggressive and you wanted to try to score 2 still. You can play just a regular hit, probably still stay in the back of the 8. You could peel it right out of there, or actually you can probably go up top and throw a high hard one on the outside of the yellow one and just drag it right into there and maybe remove everything. They've decided on something that's a little lighter than a full weight takeout here, and I don't think they're throwing a draw. I think that would be a little over aggressive for these guys maybe right now, but
so now we'll see Jordan Pinder. His first shot here in the 7th end. We're all square at 2. Jamie Murphy with the hammer. He's blanked the last number of ends. Looking to hold on to that hammer. He's just going to get a piece of that blue stone. Won't be enough to push it all the way out, but he'll lose his.
Wow. It certainly changes the dynamic at the end there. Rock definitely had a chance to hit. It was just a little bit over sweeping it early on, and then it just didn't curl up enough at the end. Jordan might have been able to throw a touch more weight, but not too much, I don't think, in that spot. So same shot for Mark Dacey, and if he can find a little bit lighter weight here, he's got a chance to sink this one in here pretty good, I think, based on where the last one went.
There is Mark Dacey's second shot here. Looking for the come around. Same shot as he had in his first, just looking for a little bit better execution. This one's starting to come around. By the center guards. Maybe a little close to the same weight, maybe a little heavier, as that one's going to just come to rest at the biting the back forefoot.
I was going to say, that one pretty much probably forces Jamie to play a draw now. It's kind of funny, you sometimes force the guy into playing the shot you don't really want him to play, but he's going to have to play the draw, and I don't know if he really wants to freeze to it. I would think that just top forefoot, he needs to be shot rock, but just top forefoot behind there would be good. Well, going to have a little more discussion maybe, or... I guess not discussion, they're just going to get the right guy to throw it.
A little bit eager Jamie Murphy was to get throwing his stones, as that's Jordan Pinder's second shot here.
Well, tough team. Jordan sort of had a half a miss on the one before, and contemplating whether or not they're even going to let him throw another one. But he's back in the house. We're going to try to do a little better job this time.
I don't know if that would work. By that philosophy, Skips would throw all the stones, I have a feeling.
Yeah, I have to think on that one a little bit.
So Jordan Pinder now will take his own second shot here.
This one's out there pretty good.
You can hear them call no line.
Time to go now.
We're going to let this one just finish on its own. Mark Dacey gives it a little cursory sweep. That'll come frozen to the corner of Shawn Adams' stone, biting the forefoot, just nibbling that back four. So now we'll move to skip stones.
Yeah, pretty good shot there by Jordan, though. It's, ideally maybe a little lighter would have been better, but that's not too bad. The only thing about it is possible now that Adams, if he makes two good shots, may force Murphy into only taking one, which certainly would be not what he wanted to do after blanking the previous two ends.
Here is Shawn Adams with his first stone here in the seventh end. We're all square at two in the East Coast Credit Union Men's Tankard semifinal. Chad Stevens waiting for the winner of this match in tomorrow's final. Calling for Gibson and Fitzner-LeBlanc to be on this one hard. Gotta drag this one back, gotta drag it back, gotta drag it back.
Yeah, it's not good really for Shawn. It's it doesn't look terrible, but really it's not going to help him much, and it does give Jamie an opportunity a little bit here. We'll see what he loves to play. He could play. Yeah, he could play there. Jordan's suggesting maybe full 8 foot at the top. Could certainly play that. Could actually. Might be able to run the blue one into it, but I think you'll lose the back yellow, but you might be able to get rid of all the blues, which wouldn't be a bad thing. Looks like the draw sort of a draw guard here, kind of a top 8 foot shot. Try to make sure that Shawn both can't play at the tap, and he also doesn't have the draw to the button around and freeze on the yellow one. Hard to believe you say that when you can hardly even see the yellow one, but with this ice, if you can nail the weight, you can certainly get it to go sideways and end up in a pretty good position. Jamie will be throwing the out turn, and guys will have to do a good job sweeping this one. Don't want this one to slide to the tee line for sure.
Jamie Murphy now with his first shot here in the seventh end. Crowell and Saccary on this one early. They'll get right off as they say top 8.
Top 8's perfect. That's exactly where he called it.
Starting to come across now. And that's top 8 if I've ever seen it.
Yeah. That's pretty good, I think. Really, it's forces Shawn maybe to come around. He's got to be a little careful here. He can probably hold Jamie to 1 here by just putting this rock somewhere in the full 4-foot top button area. And he might steal one if he can make it absolutely perfect.
So Shawn Adams comes down to the near side of the rink to us. So he gets set for his final shot here in the 7th end. Scoring has been at a premium ever since the 4th end. We've blanked them since then.
It's on its way. Both these skips don't take very long to throw it. Once they decide, they come down and get in the hack and quick clean and go. Guys just kind of going a little bit on this. Weight must be close.
And now we hear them call right off.
Still got a curl.
That one will sit on the button.
Yeah, unfortunately not a good place for the Adams team. It just didn't make that final finish. If it was going to be there, it had to be probably a foot to the left.
So now Jamie Murphy will have an open hit for his deuce here.
Yeah, that's a really tough sweep call for both the sweepers and the person in the house there, because if that rock stops at the, a foot shorter, if they actually sweep it a little bit less and leave it about a foot shorter, it's pretty darn good. Going to be pretty tough for Jamie to score too, but now it's really a pretty simple shot. It's probably easier than just a straight draw to that spot, because you have lots of backing. As long as you don't overthrow, you should be good. It's on its way.
There it is, Jamie Murphy's final shot. Looking for his second deuce of the match this evening.
I know.
Hanging out there. It's got to have it come across.
I think he's going to be okay, but pretty close to.
This is going to hit and roll. And that's going to roll a little too far. It'll be 1 for yellow, and Jamie Murphy, who picks up a single that he probably didn't want.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a great situation to score 2 in, and Jamie, that one hurts for the Murphy team for sure. I really think just overthrown a little bit, Joel. It looks to me like watching Shawn's go down there pretty lazy on the draw. I think he just pumped it up a little bit more than he needed for that shot, really.
So we'll take a moment here as we get set here for the 8th end. Jamie Murphy jumps out to a 3-2 lead. We'll recognize the sponsors here that make the East Coast Credit Union Tankard possible. Of course, as I just mentioned and referenced, the East Coast Credit Union on hand holding raffles here as we watch the action here at the Mayflower Curling Club in Halifax. Scotty's, of course, making possible the Tournament of Hearts for the women's side. Tim Hortons, lots of great coffee and refreshments, never far from a curling rink. Deloitte. Of course, New Scotland Clothing Club, Monaghan Square, Mott's Clamato Caesar, Sobeys, Kent, and the Printing House. And we're back underway here quickly as Phil Crowell throwing up likely a center guard here, if the script remains the same from this match. It's going to come a little tight.
Yeah, I don't know if they wanted that in or short, but it's in anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Throw up a corner guard here. It's funny, I was thinking about the credit unions yesterday, Joel, and it's kind of when I think of credit unions, I think of sort of the rural communities and sort of a kind of relationship and then kind of a grassroots thing, and that's really the story of curling. I mean, when I think of curling, that's the first thing you think about, the sport growing from the smaller towns and communities over across the country, and kind of the same idea, really. Credit union's all about supporting local communities in whatever way that they can. I'm really proud of their ability to do so. So we've got a corner guard up, and now we've got Phil Crowell playing the come around that he plays so often.
Crowell looked to come around that stony place top of the 12-foot on his first shot. Saccary and Pinder hard on this one as they try and bring it to where they need it. And that one will not be fully covered.
But only getting one the last end for the Murphy team has really changed the whole complexion of this game. For the first time, I would say in the game, the Adams team actually kind of has control, despite the fact they're down. They're in a position where even just scoring in the 8th end sets them up to possibly have a hammer in the last end and an opportunity to win. So, want to score 2 for sure, but 1 wouldn't be the end of the world for the Adams rink. So, certainly a big change around in that last end. Didn't quite get that behind the guard, so Jamie can go out and have Scott Saccary remove it. I heard just board. I'm not sure, but that's what he said. But I thought he just said board. Wait. Jamie will work pretty hard here to try to make sure that doesn't score more than 1. And for him, if he could ever manage to pick up a single, it would completely change the complexion here going into the 9th.
So Scott Saccary here with his first shot.
That one's gone. Be interesting to see what Shawn plays here. Getting to be a lot of rocks out there. He's going to ignore it. Go around the corner guard. Very aggressive call by the Adams team.
So last that of Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc here. As we play the 8th end. Jamie Murphy up 3-2 after forced to take a single in the last end. Here, lots of room around the guard. Gibson pulls that one, and that one will be nicely placed right behind cover.
Yeah, nice shot by Ian. Every rock is so important now as we move on to the halfway through the 8th end. It's just there's a little bit of squeezing the handle on everyone, I think.
Scott Saccary goes back to what he's been doing all night, peeling off guards. Just gets a tick, and we'll take out one of his own.
Just missed that. He would have hit the one in the house had he missed it, but so it wouldn't have been all bad, but pretty close to a problem.
Saccary had gotten away from the peels for too long. Now, Shawn Adams seeing how that missed shot might change things. You see him lining things up here. Conferring with Mark Dacey, 2 experienced skips on their own right. So after a little discussion with Dacey, I'll make the call here as Dacey confers with Fitzner-LeBlanc on what they're doing here. Line's okay. They're sweeping for weight by the sounds of it.
Yeah, this is going to go real hard on this.
Trying to get this one to come around that yellow at the front of the house. Get a little rub off of it.
Just a little light. Mark feeling the pain of that much sweeping. Just kind of putting it all out there in this game. For anybody that thought that curling wasn't an athletic endeavor, certainly those days are gone.
Certainly encourage anybody that hasn't to get out and try, and certainly you can do that at the Mayflower Curling Club. Lots of different learn to curl events that they have here. Different skill levels are accommodated, of course. I myself, not an avid curler, but I've been to a number of different, as when I've been there, fun meals or social events. Get people out and try it for the first time. Here's Jordan Pinder's first. He'll take out the blue stone and roll across the button. And a pile of yellow starting to stack.
Yeah, I think you can still sign up for the February free curling here at the Mayflower Curling Club. You get to come out and try it for a month. I'm not exactly sure how the program works, but you certainly get to sign up and put the day you'd like to curl, and I think they're going to give you some instruction, and it's just a promotion just on during the provincial championships here, so if you're thinking you might like to give it a go, I was looking at the list earlier, a number of people have already signed up for that. You got to do it today or tomorrow, because you ain't happening after that. We said, too, there's lots of curling clubs in the area. I managed to forget one yesterday, so I heard about that today, so I want to remind everybody that there is a curling club in Lower Sackville, the Lakeshore Curling Club, who I forgot to mention yesterday when I was rambling off the list of curling clubs in the metro area that you can get out and support. See what they have, see where you live, see what you like at the various clubs. Going to try this game, and it's a great game for people at this level. It's a great game for novices. Play it from the time you're 6 until you're 106. Really a lot of fun.
So Mark Dacey now gets set for his first shot. Maybe taking a few moments to recover after the sweeping effort and the last shot from Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc.
Yeah, he's pretty worn out after this one. That one, rather. Mark playing the double here. Oh, it's got to curl a long way. Got to curl a lot.
Gets a piece, and will just glance by the two Yellowstones. So he takes out one, but
yeah, Mark not too happy with that. I think he's still hurting a little bit from the last sweep that he did, and never quite threw that one at the broom. Threw it a little bit outside, and with that much weight, there wasn't much chance it was coming up. Missed opportunity there. There's a lot of stuff to work with. If he hits that in the right place, he's probably going to get rid of all three yellows really, and sit 1-2. But when it was done, with that much weight at least. So the guy's doing the broom switch again that you talked about earlier, Joel. I would suggest at home in your local curling club and your club, you don't bother doing that switch thing. Just get a broom and use it. Preferably a synthetic broom. Doesn't drop hairs all over the place because we all keep our brooms longer than we should. Jordan playing the hit on the blue one here. This one's got to curl a little bit too, I think.
catches a little bit on the inside and we'll remove that. So 4 yellow remain in the house now.
Here's the crowd up here's about split as to who they're cheering for, Joel. I think half the people clap for that shot.
Well, both rinks here out of the Mayflower Curling Club here. This is their home rink. Interesting to see. We'll have to see who their friends are after this match.
Yeah.
I think there's support on both sides. I think most people are cheering for good shots more than anything.
Yeah, we all want to get a great representative out. We have 3 teams left here in this competition that would all be great representatives at the upcoming Brier if they manage to get into it. It's we do have to go through the whole relegation thing again at the Brier and go play a couple of games to try to get into the main field. Last year, Glenn McLeod lost out on that by the draw to the button distance. It just seems a little unfair. At least have a tiebreaker game or something to play your way in or play your way out, one or the other. But to lose it on a measure for the sake of a few centimeters just seems a little bit absurd to me. But never been a big fan of that system, and I know it's going to change. But for some reason, we have to wait till after we get 3 more years of it and the Olympic cycle ends. Dacey going to try to clean things up here.
Another heavy shot here from Merck. Does a good job of cleaning things up a little bit. We'll remove 2 and move 1 out to the far reaches of the 12-foot.
Yeah, great shot by Mark. Unfortunately, that one stayed for him, so that might mean that Shawn gets forced into taking one. But if I'm Shawn, I'm thinking it looks a lot better now than it did 15, 20 seconds.
Now Jamie and Jordan just looking to see where they want to place their stone. This shot just to, again, as you mentioned, make it difficult on Shawn Adams into a position where worst case scenario for Murphy.
Yeah,
Shawn Adams will be forced to take one.
Yeah, sorry, Joel. I kind of like what Jamie just tapped there. He just tapped basically the 4-foot on the tee line at the other side. Problem with doing that, if you play that, there's an awful good chance that Shawn will play the hit and roll behind that Jamie just pointed out. And, yeah, it's a short run back, but run backs can be missed, and you don't want to play your way into it. You're pretty much guaranteed of forcing the one here. So he's decided. Not sure that I agree with it, but I don't think that matters a whole lot. Just don't. You got to be real careful here. You don't want to drop this at the top of the 12-foot, and then all of a sudden you have a 6 or 7 run back on your next one if Shawn makes a good shot.
So here is Jamie Murphy, and his first shot here in the 8th end. He's up 1.
His weight must be close. Guys are just cleaning a little bit, on and off. Maybe a little heavy. I don't think heavy really hurts a whole lot as long as it's not ridiculously heavy.
This one's gonna come to rest on the button.
Yeah, one person clapped for that. I don't think that's a great spot for him, but I don't know that it really hurts him a whole lot. The problem now, Shawn has to decide here, does he play the double, or does he just play the hit and flop on top? Does he just tab it back a little bit and then be prepared to throw the draw on his last one? He's looking at a little bit of a hit and roll, I think. I don't think you could ever play the freeze. I think that's just a little bit, well, too aggressive in my mind anyways. This seems to be the call. They're pretty settled on playing the out-turn hit and roll on top of the one on the 4-foot. If you make this really good, Jamie's going to be in trouble and probably kicking himself a little bit for that shot, but
just making it so that his own shooter will be frozen or close to on that Yellowstone and hard to remove, which could give him for his deuce.
Yeah. It's got to be absolutely perfect because these guys can throw it so hard that, if it's not absolutely perfect, certainly Jamie will be able to remove it. But if you make it really good and Jamie tries to remove it, you still might get your 2, and he might also end up hitting everything out, in which case you might be able to come down here and blank on this side, but I don't know if the blank's there on that one.
So first shot for Shawn Adams here in the 8th end. Andrew Gibson on this one hard, as this one's starting to come across.
Yeah.
Not going to hit the right side of the rock for the roll they were looking for.
No, not too good, that one.
So a second opportunity for Murphy.
If you're going to miss that one, you probably would have rather missed it a little bit on the high side, and you'd end up making the double or at least kicking that yellow one out into the 12-foot somewhere. And now if Jamie actually hits his on the nose and sits right there, Shawn's going to have a decision to make here because he may have to play the cold draw to the button or the hit and roll off the one at the left-hand side of the 4-foot there. So Jamie could make this shot fairly tough just by staying right there.
It's Jamie Murphy's final shot here in the 8th end. Calling for Scott Saccary to stay off of this one. And Murphy's giving a little clean down there. It's going to hit and stick there as he'll sit 3 as Adams will prep for it. While they discuss that, I'd like to thank Colton Steele, who's following along. Gives a mention to Jim. Hard not to agree with commentator Jim's opinion regarding relegation. 2 centimeters will forever haunt me. Good job on the game so far, guys. That's Colton Steele, one of the competitors here this week from the Thompson team. Had a great event. Ended up just falling short in their final match against Chad Stevens for a chance to move on to the playoff round.
Colton was on that team last year, playing with Peter Burgess and Glenn McLeod. And I didn't realize it was only, I knew it was not a lot, but anyway. Uh-oh, we got trouble here with this one.
Shawn was immediately over the hog line, was not happy.
No.
That's going to be a steal for Jamie Murphy here in the 8th end. So he'll be up 5-2 as we'll move to the 9th end on a big 3-point lead. So that's 2 for the yellow and Jamie Murphy here in 8.
Yeah, I think the Adams team figures that rock picked again and not very happy about it.
And again, unfortunate, that's the second pick of the night for the Adams rink, both from Shawn Adams himself. So
yeah,
at very key times during the match.
Yeah, there's only been 2, and they were both on Shawn's rocks. And
so now we'll start the 9th end. Phil Crowell and T. Murphy up by 3 here in the 9th.
that was a little weird, that one. I didn't really see what happened to that early. It just seemed to kind of just float over there, and then I heard the guy say gone, and unfortunate for sure.
So now Andrew Gibson asked to put up corner guard. That one will be tight corner guard. Jamie Murphy's going to put another one up around the center. Hear him call for top 8. They asked for Phil Crowell to start clogging up the middle of this house. Saccary and Pinder. And again, another great example of top 8 shown by the Murphy rink.
Yeah, Andrew will throw up another corner guard here and try to generate a little offense. Game's not over yet. Guys got to kind of keep their wits about them a little bit because they certainly get 2 here. Be nice to get 3, but certainly even a 2 would make the last end interesting for sure. Another lazy-looking rock going down there, but
another corner guard placed by Andrew Gibson.
I've been throwing that one all game.
Now Scott Saccary with his first shot here. You hear him calling down maybe to Jamie Murphy that he's been throwing that all game. As he'll look to peel off one of these corner guards. Certainly that has been what he's been doing, is throwing peeling off guards all game. And he's done a fine job of it.
yeah, he has. He hasn't missed a single one, and it's not a surprise for sure, but the Adams team could certainly use one right now. Somebody missed one. Fitzner-LeBlanc will be playing a draw here. Trying to just move these rocks back, I think.
Just a little tap back on the top yellow stone. Now 2 biting the button for Jamie Murphy's rink.
Yeah, it did the job for Ian. That's basically what all he was trying to do. There wasn't much more he could accomplish with that. Scott Saccary throwing the big weight peel again. This one's a little closer to...
Look at that. Saccary peels off the guard, doubles up the blue stone at the top of the house.
Yeah, very nice shot by Scott. Spain will be throwing a freeze down in here, I think. Just freeze right into the 2 rocks in the house. And hopefully manage to find a way to get your 2 from that sort of a strategy. First he might be throwing a guard, but I think he's just throwing the draw freeze.
Just trying to keep this clean. Just nudges that yellow back again, and it'll pull in just between those 2 yellows on the button.
That's a great shot, though. It's in a great spot.
Jamie Murphy now, though, he's going to decide to try and clear things out.
Well, the nice thing for Jamie right now, really, he has a couple of things. He can go down there and hit that. He doesn't really have to worry too much about losing his own. That's fine. He can take 2 shots to get this out. The other thing he could do probably would be to drive the yellow one, the top 12, into the blue one and get rid of it that way. Maybe get rid of that yellow one at the same time. Just going down to make sure, Jordan going down to make sure everybody's on the same page, and he'll throw this one as hard as he can, I think. Well, maybe not. It's on its way.
There's Jordan Pinder's first shot in the 9th end. Looking to clear up a little of this center. Gets it on the nose on the blue, and that'll remove one of his own. And then he'll sit right in front. Now shot rock biting the button.
Trying to get the inside on that back one. Yeah.
As we listen to some of the comments here as Mark Dacey gets set.
Overthrow the inside. There's air there.
To see if he can come to the inside of that back, just on the other side of the tee line and the 8-foot.
Yeah, you kind of grasp a little bit here. You still got to make good shots. You got to put rocks in the right place, but you're really kind of looking for something magical to happen here. And if he can make this, what he's talking about on the overcurl, if he can actually curl a little bit past that rock that's on the tee line and get right in behind those rocks, it probably can't be removed, at least on the first shot.
Line only the call. So look for this one to come across.
Starting to go now. Still got to go a little harder.
We'll catch the right side of the rock, but not much. And
yeah, really nice throw by Mark. It just didn't, even with that weight, which wasn't really excessive, it just didn't really catch any big curl.
Pinder go back down to chat about this one. As we see Jamie looking at the overhead here, trying to see what might be second shot here. I think he's kind of thinking that it is the blue stone, which it looks like from this angle. I think he's talking about just removing that one. And
yeah, in the overhead it almost looks like you could hit the yellow hard on the outside and take care of both blues, but I don't think that's quite as easy as it looks on there. Not that it looks real easy on there, but I think it actually goes over the top if you hit it, so. Out.
Jamie Murphy takes his time out here as they'll discuss what to do with the 3-point lead here in the 9th end.
Yeah, it's always a good problem, though. When you have to take timeouts because you're up 3 and you can't figure out how to get rid of rocks, that's a lot nicer than when you're down 3. You're trying to figure out how to make a score, so. Coach Bruce Lohnes will make his way down to the other end and have a little chat and see what happens. Shawn's team's just going to chat down here because they don't have a coach. And
we'll take a moment here. Once again, we'll just recognize the sponsors here. East Coast Credit Union, major sponsor here of the East Coast Credit Union Men's Tankard. Scotty's, of course, taking care of the women's event. Tim Hortons, Deloitte, the New Scotland Clothing Company, Monaghan Square, Mott's Clamato Caesars, Sobeys, Kent Building Supplies, and the Printing House.
So with a 3-point lead, you might end up seeing Jamie just really get rid of that blue one that Mark just threw. I mean, there's a possibility you might give up 2 then, but that's fine. Two or three options for getting rid of at least one of the blue ones. It's just a matter of whether or not you want to, or not whether or not, but what you actually want to leave at the end of this shot. If you take that one that Mark just threw, then you're probably going to see Adams play the exact same shot, try to come down and tuck it a little bit harder, maybe a little bit deeper, and make it a little more difficult to remove it, knowing you're probably still going to give Jamie a chance to play the tap on his own, get rid of your one in the top of the forefoot.
I think that's about time as they'll be back on the clock. Still taking a few more moments to decide here what they want to do.
Yeah, time not really an issue for either team really here. Even the Adams team, which is behind at the moment, they're certainly not in any danger of running out of time. Murphy's got 7 minutes right now, and he can take probably 2 or 3 more minutes if he wants to talk about this and still be fine for time in the last end, especially given that he's probably going to have a 1 or 2 point lead. So it's on its way. Jordan's going to, or not it's on its way, but he's made his call, and Jordan's going to throw what I think is the intern pick on. It might be to try to make the double, but I don't think it will make the double. I think it goes over like I said before, I think it goes over top of the back blue one. Careful not to tick that top yellow one.
So after a lot of consultation, there is Pinder's shot here. Scott Saccary on this one hard. Off his yellow, clears the blue shooter. Will roll out another one to the right.
I'll tell you what, it made the blue one a little bit harder to get rid of on the next shot, though.
Blue still sitting shot rock as we play here in the 9th end. Now Shawn Adams with a decision here.
Yeah, it's a little tough because Shawn's still got 3 rocks to come here, and kind of going open side here, just try to even them up, and really playing for 2 at this point.
What about team number 3? Just fight the 8. Yeah, because that's that yellow behind the blue.
Really like trying to figure out a way to get 3 here, but there's not a lot of opportunity right yet to make that happen, so just be a little bit content for now with the possibility of getting 2. Throw to the back of the tee line, and Jamie's going to hit it. He's not going to go over here and hit the one that's more difficult to remove for sure. So if he happens to stay, maybe you go down, freeze, and try to get your 3 that way.
So here is Mark Dacey. Looking to try and set up something here for the team Adams. Down 3 in the 9th end here of the East Coast Credit Union men's Tankard. As we mentioned, winner going to go on to Chad Stevens in tomorrow's final. Jordan Pinder's going to sweep that one. Just bite the 8-foot. That'll sit third shot. But we did hear, I think we overheard Mark and Shawn talking about if it is third.
Yeah, they third shot thinking, I think, thinking that Jamie would hit the open one, but he's not going to play that. He's actually going to play the kind of like the crosshouse double here.
See if he can line this up.
It's a really aggressive shot. I actually thought he would have hit the open one myself. Just because if you ever happen to set this out just a hair and you jam it, then all of a sudden you bring 3 into play, and this is not a real easy shot, but he's feeling good. He's made everything today, so says let's give it a go.
Here is Jamie Murphy's first shot here in the 9th end. Comes in hard here. He will get the shooter, roll over by the other blue stone. Not enough, obviously, to get across and bump it at all, but still ends up clearing out what was shot rock. Now sits one himself.
Good effort for Jamie. It's now Shaw's got to decide, do you come around the guard or you play a freeze possibly? Problem with the freeze, if you don't make it absolutely perfect, maybe both blues are gone. You definitely can't afford to take one here. Mark's pointing out that you could always play some sort of shot that's similar to a freeze at least. You have to get 2 here. That's your goal now.
Adams asks Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc and Andrew Gibson for their thoughts on what should be done here. Still hasn't called a timeout yet. Still lots of time on the clock.
Yeah, sometimes the front end standing down here thinking, well, they're sure don't ask us.
At the same time, this is where we mentioned about playing a different role. This is some of the decisions that Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc is often making for his club.
Yeah. And Ian's never been afraid to throw a draw against a bunch, so not surprised that this might be his preference as well. I think this is fine. You just got to get it in there and make sure you're shot rock. And I think if you're behind that yellow one at all, even partially buried, I'm pretty sure that Jamie will go over and hit the blue one that's in the open and give you your 2. I don't see any point in taking any kind of risk at all if you're the Murphy team right now. Up one coming home with the hammer's pretty good position to be in. You certainly would have taken that at the start of the game. So don't play yourself into a 3-ender in any way.
So Adams away with his first. Adams and Dacey calling for this one hard, and it's going to rub off that yellow at the top 12.
Did get number 2 or 3 or whatever. Anyways, out counted all the yellows except for the one at the back of the 8, which is was good. If it curled another inch or so, then it was a complete disaster.
You could hear them calling for that one, trying to hold that line the whole way. To get it by, but at least enough to minimize the damage.
Yeah, I don't know why that one over curled, but it did. The weight wasn't bad. A little tiny bit light maybe, but not bad. I think the weight would have been certainly in loads to get to the 4 foot. So you maybe just need a couple more inches of ice. As we mentioned before, Shawn doesn't throw a lot of handle on the stone, but usually enough. Well,
so final shot for Jamie Murphy here in the 9th end. He's going to hit this one, little roll towards the center. Not much. As
no, but enough.
Second shot right now as he'll count 2.
Yeah, got to give Jamie credit, you know. I think the tendency there for most teams would be to make sure you just got rid of one of them and be more than willing to just be 2 up or 1 up with the hammer coming home. And he said, no, let's try to hit it and flop in and make him take his 1. So he threw kind of a finessey weight shot that I certainly wouldn't have expected, and I think it pretty much did the job. Not unless our overhead view that we had before is not quite there. You see it again. Chuck's right on the ball there. Listen to everything we say. But that certainly would indicate the yellow's number 2, and Shawn's just drawing to sit 1. Leave him in a tough spot coming home.
So Shawn Adams here with his final shot in the 9th end. Down 3, drawing for 1. Against 2.
No problem on that.
Hit in there, and so blue will score 1 here in the 9th. But Jamie Murphy will take a 2-shot lead into the 10th end. And the hammer. So he'll be up 2 with the hammer as we come home in the 10th. In this semifinal action, East Coast Credit Union men's Tankard.
Yeah, tough spot for the Adams team now. Stealing 2 in the last end is pretty tough. I mean, it's tough at any level. It's like something that very, very rarely would ever happen at this level of curling. But you got to give it a try. You know you're going to get 2 guards out there for sure. Hopefully somebody misses the tick shot if that's what they play, although Jamie may just decide to throw it through and not fool around with that. That can sometimes get you in additional trouble that you don't need to be in. Get your 2 guards up there, get 1 around it, and then let Jamie start to peel, and hopefully along the way somewhere you get this and you get an opportunity to at least be counting 2 when he's throwing his last one.
So the Adams rink begins playoff with a long center guard.
Yeah, the idea there, Joel, you're really trying there, so you really want one to be very, very long and one to be tighter to prevent a double peel, or do as good a job as preventing it as you can. So that's why that one wasn't swept a little bit more.
And Phil Crowell will come in around. Now they're wanting to get this one out.
Yeah, that rock doesn't help Jamie. Obviously, he doesn't need to score any more points, and even if he did, that's probably not one that's going to score. So all that really does is just get in your way later, so you really don't want to put it there. And that if the guys had thought earlier that it was that close, I'm sure they would have swept it even earlier. So the second guard by Andrew Gibson coming in. Needs to get by that one, though.
Fitzner-LeBlanc and Dacey on this one hard will just squeak it by that high guard. Now they'll have one sort of mid-level.
Yeah, I would like to have been a little longer, or a little tighter, sorry, with that one for Andrew. That one's certainly a little long, but...
Now you hear Jamie Murphy calling top. Pinder and Saccary just giving moderate little clean to this.
Yeah, I think that's Phil throwing I'm making sure I'm not going to drop it short weight. So it's kind of
puts that one right on top of the button.
Yeah, about probably a good 2-3 feet further than he'd like to be.
And Jamie just calling for a tap, as he said. Try and line the back of the house with those yellow stones. Calling hard for the line here is Andrew Gibson. Now Dacey gets on this one as well. Good on the line, just going to the nose.
That's a good shot. I know he said tap it, but that's a good shot. I mean, it's probably just about as good at this point. Scott throwing, guess what?
Peel.
Yeah, I think so, yep.
Scott, Peel, Saccary. He gets the Peel off the high center guard.
Scott missed one of those way back in junior a few years ago. Shawn asking Ian to throw the come around again. Same shot that Andrew, or I guess Ian, threw on his first one. So put it right on top of it again, and Jamie will peel the guard, and you keep throwing the guard back up, and then eventually you'll have to make a move on the one in the house and cross your fingers.
Gibson and Dacey on this one. They get her by the guard. Just want to have her come back a little bit deeper, as it's going to...
Not quite as good. Not terrible by any stretch for sure, but would have liked to have been right on top of that one for sure.
And Scott will complete another peel. Now, Shawn Adams surveys things again as Mark Dacey heads down for his first shot here in the 10th end. 5-3 is the score. Jamie Murphy up by 2 with the hammer coming home here in the 10th. Looking to secure his spot in the final tomorrow against Chad Stevens.
So the Adams team done just about all they can do at this point, really. It's just kind of, they got the 2 in and got the 2 in, and they're going to keep guarding this one up, and might come down at the end. You'll see them have to play some kind of a tap on the blue, but if they do, they might sit 3 and force Jamie to maybe at least sweat a little bit. This one looks like it's hanging out quite a bit more than the others did, but starting to go a little bit now. Ian all over it, trying to get it to curl. Does need to curl a little more. Yeah. Well, it's good enough that Jamie's going to rip it out of there anyway. Up 2 with the hammer. You really don't want to leave any guards out there. You're okay with throwing your last shot to win the game, but you don't want it to have to be some kind of fancy come around tap back or something. Jordan Pinder look a little tight on the slide, but out should be okay.
It's that one pretty square. We'll just get a little nudge on that blue one that was sitting at the top 12 foot.
Yeah, a little tough there. Jordan came a little tight on the delivery and had to kind of put it back, and we all sort of have to do that sometimes, and had to be a little careful he didn't put it back too far and miss everything. So as a result, he ended up almost jamming it. Pretty much did the job, though, for what he wanted.
So Dacey consults a little bit with Adams prior to setting up for his second shot here.
Yeah, I think he's playing the same shot, Joel. I couldn't really tell, but I'm pretty sure he'd be throwing the same rock, just a little more weight maybe to get it a little bit tighter, and knowing that the Murphy team and Jordan Pinder will go back down there and throw another peel. I guess not. Maybe he's going to play a bump. Playing the bump now. A little earlier than I thought he would. Didn't think he'd go this early.
Hear them calling back 8. We get the little bump back. Now has 2 of his own frozen on the top 4 foot. And 2 yellow frozen at the back 12.
Problem with that shot that I see is it could be only 1 blue, 1 left after this shot. And no guards. Might jam on the back, but I thought they really thought they'd throw 1 more guard there, and I think Jamie would have peeled it, and then you could have thought about playing that shot maybe on Shawn's first one, but they chose not to. A lot of conversation going on here. I really don't think you have any choice but to hit that and try to get rid of a couple, or at least get them off of there. So
likely would end up removing blue and the blue biting the button and leave that one biting the 4.
yeah, I think so. I mean, you might end up another time out by the Murphy team. You might end up dragging it into the back yellows, but I don't really think you need to worry about that if you're Murphy. So a little surprised there's much discussion on this one, but as we've said numerous times, it's a pretty important game. Yeah.
No harm in taking a few extra moments just to make sure of what you want to do.
Yeah.
We'll take one final opportunity here just to recognize the sponsors that make this possible. Of course, the East Coast Credit Union Tankard is brought to us by the East Coast Credit Union. See their name and logo all over the rings here. Tim Hortons, never far from the curling rink, with great coffee and refreshment. Deloitte has been a huge partner here in making this event possible. On hand, New Scotland Clothing Company, Hand Square, Mott's Clamato Caesar, Sobeys, Kent, and the Printing House. It seems like the discussion's over. And as thought, they'll wait for Murphy to put the broom down, but I believe he's just taking a moment to step back before he'll put it down on the nose of that blue stone at the front of the house.
Yeah, you just got to be sure where you're actually trying to hit it, and make sure everybody's on the same page as to where you're trying to hit it, because if you're not, you can get into a kind of a shouting match that could confuse the sweepers and all of a sudden get you want. So it's on its way.
Here it comes, Jordan Pinder. His shot just a little off the face, and that'll leave one blue stone but take out 2.
Yeah, and that was, there's no good scenario for the Adams team for sure, but that was the problem that I if you played the tap already, but it could have happened on the next shot too, so who knows.
So, down by 2. 2 stones left to play for Shawn Adams. Currently sitting 1.
So Adams going to go around the corner guard. Probably sit 2 when this is done, and Murphy takes out the shot rock, and if Shawn's lucky, he'll get another chance to go around the corner or hit and roll behind the corner and sit 2. The only bad news is that they're only going to be maybe biting the 8-foot or something like that, but that's if everything goes good.
Mark Dacey just confirming a little bit of the weight. Shawn Adams wants to throw. Back T-line, as they kind of say.
Hey, you still want to play, no matter what, you want Jamie to have to throw that last one. We've seen some strange things happen in this game, and, they can happen to his team as well as they can happen to the Adams team, so certainly get it in there somewhere where he doesn't make a double, and
that one ends up at the back 8-foot.
So I think it's still a double. I still think you throw it in there, and I really think if you hit about a third of that back blue one that it's not going to jam on these yellows anyways. Jamie just taking a second, gather his thoughts, and make sure he's comfortable with what his decision is, and if he throws this one good, this game could be over. The Murphy team certainly played a good game. They've had the benefit of a couple of picks for sure, no question about that. But they really have played a solid game. They haven't missed very many shots. Haven't given the Adams team much to work with.
So first shot here for Jamie Murphy. He's got the hammer here in 10, up 2. Chance here. He's able to eliminate the 2 blue stones. Match. Could be the finals. Could be there. He'll get the 1 and sit at the top 8. So now it's a matter of Shawn Adams to have his 2 counting.
Yeah, there's not much Shawn can do but to try to hit this, and as I said before, just roll behind that corner guard. And you know, if Jamie can see something, he'll hit it. If he can't, then he'll just draw the 4 foot or 8 foot and win the game. That's the plan for him anyways. But I'm sure he'd much rather hit. Like I said, we've had a couple of picks on a couple of shots that, you know, that always gives you that little fear in the last end, and chances are nothing's ever going to happen again. So Shawn throwing his out turn down here, and Andrew Gibson working hard at it. They really want this to roll. Looks like a nose hit. Or worse. Nope, nose hit's good.
That will hit and just roll a bit, but not very far. So now an open hit for Jamie and the match, and a spot in the finals with an open hit. Great matchup here.
Yeah, it's been a good game, and Jamie throws this one good. Finish it off. He'll probably throw this with, you know, I think a little bit of weight. He doesn't have to throw a rocket down here, but certainly doesn't want it curling.
And there is final shot from Jamie Murphy. Needs the hit and takeout here in the 10th end. He makes the shot, and that'll be the match as Jamie Murphy wins this semifinal and moves on to face Chad Stevens tomorrow in the men's final of the East Coast Credit Union Tankard. Jim, final thoughts on this matchup?
Well, you know, a good game. You know, obviously the few bad breaks for the Murphy team was really solid. I mean, they really played a good game. Scott Saccary at second stone, you know, really cleaned up any potential messes, if there were any, for the Murphy team. And Jamie made everything, and he played the shots you need to make to win. He didn't play the easy shots sometimes. You just played the ones you have to make if you're going to win at this level. So kudos to them, well-deserved, and certainly worthy of a spot in the final tomorrow.
Make the final here, 5-4, Jamie Murphy over Team Adams. Jamie Murphy moves on to the final tomorrow. You can catch all the action for both the men's and women's finals on Bell Alliant TV1 tomorrow. My name is Joel McDougall. I've been joined by Jim Nix. Pleasure been all week. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you.